If you think heartbreak is painful, wait till you see what my best friend did on my wedding day. Stay till the end, because the twist will make you question everything you thought you knew about love, loyalty, and revenge. My name's Alina, and I used to believe friendship was stronger than blood. I met Zara when I was 13, the new girl at school with sharp eyeliner and that fearless energy that made everyone pay attention. I was quiet, bookish, the kind of girl who said sorry before anyone even got mad. But Zara, she walked into my life like a storm and told me, "Stop apologizing for existing." We grew up like sisters, shared secrets, dreams, heartbreaks. When my dad died, she was the one who sat outside my door all night with a blanket and a box of tissues. When she got her first heartbreak, I was the one who drove 2 hours just to bring her chocolate ice cream and let her cry. By the time we hit our 20s, we were inseparable. The power duo, people called us. She was bold, I was calm. She planned, I executed. And when I met Rayyan, she was the first to say, "Finally, a guy who deserves you." Rayyan and I met at a corporate seminar. He was charming in that quiet, old-school way. Not flashy, not loud, but thoughtful. The kind of man who listened. Zara loved him too. Or at least, she said she did. She helped me plan everything. The engagement, the guest list, even my bridal shower. We'd stay up late talking about the honeymoon destinations, the flowers, the colors. But in those months, little things started to shift. Zara began showing up late, missing meetings, snapping when I'd ask her opinion. "You're obsessed with this wedding," she once said, rolling her eyes. "You're acting like life ends after marriage." I laughed it off. She'd always been dramatic. Then one night, I walked into her apartment to drop off invitation samples. I wish I hadn't. Rayyan was there. He wasn't touching her. Not exactly. But the air, the look they shared, it wasn't friendship. It was something uglier, heavier, dangerous. Zara looked shocked, like a kid caught stealing. Rayyan just stood there, silent, eyes darting between us. I didn't say a word. I put the invitations on the table, smiled, and said, "Don't worry. I'll let myself out." That night, I didn't sleep. My chest felt hollow, my head buzzing. Part of me wanted to confront them, scream, demand answers. The other part, the colder, quieter part, told me to wait. Because sometimes, the best revenge isn't loud, it's patient. The next day, Zara called like nothing happened. "Hey babe, can you send me the caterer's contact?" I said sure. My voice didn't even shake. I started watching. Not just her. Both of them. Little signs. The texts he deleted, the sudden work calls at 10 p.m., Zara's sudden interest in volunteering for everything wedding related. She was everywhere. Every decision, every meeting, every detail. My mother said, "You trust her too much." And I smiled, replying softly, "Not anymore." I let Zara help me plan my wedding right down to the last petal. I let her choose the decor, the vendors, even the final fitting schedule. I gave her every ounce of control she wanted, because I knew exactly what she was planning to ruin. And I was going to let her think she'd succeeded. By the time the wedding day came, everyone thought Zara was my maid of honor, my best friend, my sister by heart, and she was, until the moment she tried to destroy everything I loved, and found out that I had already destroyed her first. The morning of my wedding felt like a movie. Sunlight spilling through the curtains, the smell of roses and jasmine thick in the air, and the kind of silence that hums right before something breaks. Everyone said I looked calm. My makeup artist even laughed. "You're the most relaxed bride I've ever seen." I smiled in the mirror, but inside, I was steel. Zara was running the show like she owned it. She barked orders at the decorators, triple-checked the catering, and made sure the photographers got every shot she wanted. She looked like the perfect best friend. Loyal, organized, glowing in her champagne dress. But behind that perfect image was a secret she thought I didn't know. See, 3 weeks before the wedding, I discovered everything. Not just their emotional affair, the full truth. Zara had been manipulating Rayan for months, telling him I was controlling, materialistic, not wife material. She played victim, convincing him she was the only one who understood him. And Rayan, the idiot, fell for it. They planned to humiliate me. Right here, on my wedding day. Zara had convinced him that calling off the ceremony publicly would make him look honest and save him from a bad marriage. He was supposed to walk away at the altar and she'd be there, the sympathetic friend who'd comfort him. Their little secret plan. Except I had my own. 3 weeks ago, I met with my lawyer, then the wedding planner, then the venue owner. Every contract, every payment, every booking, all under my name. The press coverage deal? Mine. The live stream? Mine. The event sponsorships and influencer tie-ins? All registered through a private PR agency I'd hired months earlier. In Zara's name. And the best part, the live recording that Zara herself insisted on for memories wasn't just for memories. It was broadcasting directly to our wedding website, where over 300 guests and half of Zara's social circle were watching live. So when she burned my dream down, everyone would see who really started the fire. Around noon, as I was getting dressed, Zara walked in holding my bouquet. "You ready, babe?" Her voice was too sweet, too polished. I turned and looked at her. Always. She adjusted my veil, her fingers brushing the lace. "You look beautiful," she whispered. I smiled. "So do you. Must feel good being in control of everything." She blinked. "What do you mean?" "Oh, nothing," I said, my tone casual. "You've just done such a great job. Almost like it's your wedding." For a second, her confident smile faltered. I saw it, the flicker of guilt. But she recovered fast, laughing. "Girl, please. You're the star today if only she knew." When the ceremony began, the hall was bathed in gold light. My mother cried quietly in the front row. Rayan stood by the altar, looking nervous. Guilt always makes people sweat. I walked down the aisle to soft piano music, every eye on me, every camera streaming live. When I reached him, he didn't meet my gaze. His hands trembled slightly. Zara was standing to the side, pretending to dab her eyes with a tissue. The officiant began, "We are gathered here today to celebrate the union of..." And then it happened. Rayan stepped forward. "I can't do this." The words hung in the air, sharp as glass. The crowd gasped. My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Zara's eyes widened, fake shock painting her face. "Rayan, what are you saying?" She whispered dramatically, loud enough for the guests to hear. My heart didn't race. My vision didn't blur, because I knew every line of this scene before it happened. I turned to him, calm as ever. "You can't do this?" He swallowed hard. I think we rushed things." "I'm sorry," Alina gasps again. The audience was frozen, phones raised, recording. Zara stepped closer, pretending to console him. "It's okay, Rayan. You have to follow your heart." And that's when I smiled. Really smiled. "Follow his heart?" I repeated softly, turning to her. "You mean the one you've been keeping in your apartment?" Her face drained of color. "What? What are you talking about?" "Oh, come on, Zara. The late-night visits, the deleted texts, the photos from the restaurant on Michigan Avenue. Ring any bells?" The crowd stirred, whispers rippling through the hall. The officiant looked horrified. My mother was shaking her head, disbelief mixing with fury. Zara's voice cracked. "Alina, this isn't the time." "Oh, I think it's the perfect time." I cut in. After all, you wanted everyone to see the truth, didn't you? I turned to the camera crew and gestured toward them. Make sure you're getting this part. It's important. Zara's eyes widened as realization hit. She turned toward the live stream camera, her lips parting. You didn't... Oh, I did, I said, stepping closer so she could see the calm in my eyes. This entire event is live, Zara. Every word, every look, broadcast to over 300 people, including your boss, your parents, and that lovely boyfriend you forgot to mention. The crowd gasped again. Someone in the back muttered, "Oh my God." Zara stumbled backward. You set me up. No, I said, my voice cool. You set yourself up. I just made sure everyone saw it. Ryan tried to speak, but the damage was done. His family was staring at him like he was poison. Zara's phone buzzed. Her boss had probably already seen the footage. I looked at them both, the man I loved and the woman I thought was my sister, and said, "You two deserve each other. Just not in my life." Then I walked out. The cameras followed me to the exit, flashes bouncing off the white silk of my dress. I didn't cry, I didn't scream, I didn't break, because I hadn't lost anything. They had, and by the time the video went viral the next morning, they both realized it. But that was just the beginning. Because revenge doesn't end with exposure, it ends with silence. And I was far from finished. The video hit the internet before I even made it home. Someone from the crowd had clipped the confrontation and posted it with the caption, "Bride exposes cheating groom and best friend live at her wedding." Within 6 hours, it had over 3 million views. By morning, every gossip page, wedding blog, and TikTok account had picked it up. # Justice for Alina was trending. My phone didn't stop buzzing. Friends, co-workers, old schoolmates, even strangers were flooding my DMs. Half of them cheering for me, the other half asking if it was scripted. But it wasn't a show. It was real life, and they were about to see the real cost of betrayal. Zara's PR firm issued a statement claiming a misunderstanding. Cute. But the board of directors didn't buy it. By Tuesday, she was suspended pending ethical review. Her clients dropped her faster than a bad headline. Screenshots of her messages to Rayyan leaked. All those things she said about me being a charity case, about my family being too ordinary. The internet loves irony, and they devoured hers. As for Rayyan, his law firm requested his resignation. That's corporate talk for, "You're toxic? Pack your desk?" His family tried to do damage control, but the press found out about the engagement documents and the clause that gave him access to part of my trust fund once we were legally married. People put 2 and 2 together. It wasn't love, it was leverage. But I wasn't sitting home scrolling through comments. I was busy making sure the final act went exactly as planned. Remember that joint wedding investment account I mentioned? Yeah. I'd been moving money out of it for weeks. Legally, carefully, strategically. While they thought they were building their dream event, I was building an airtight trail. Every receipt, every payment Zara made on my behalf was technically under her personal name, thanks to how I structured the paperwork, which meant when vendors demanded refunds after the scandal, they went to her, not me. $500,000 of losses, gone. And Rayyan? He didn't even know the legal wedding he cancelled wasn't the one that mattered. Because 3 days before that ceremony, we'd already signed the papers. Legally, I was Mrs. Rayyan Malik, which meant every transaction made under the couple's name, including the car, the honeymoon booking, and the joint account, fell under community property law. I froze the accounts before he even realized what happened. Zara and Rayyan were left trying to clean up ashes, but all they had were burned hands. A week later, I got an email from a reporter. He wanted an exclusive interview. "Your story has the internet hooked," he wrote. Everyone wants to know how it ends. I didn't reply, because my story wasn't for headlines. It was for closure. That weekend, I went back to the venue, alone. The burnt petals had been swept away, the stage disassembled. But when I stood where it all happened, I felt something new. Not sadness, not rage. Peace. I closed my eyes and thought about that moment when Zara's laughter faltered, when she realized I wasn't her victim anymore. That look, that single flicker of fear, that was worth more than any apology. As I walked out of the empty hall, the manager stopped me. "Miss Alina," he said, "someone dropped off a note for you." It was from Zara, handwritten. "You ruined my life. I hope it was worth it." I smiled, folded it neatly, and wrote back in red ink, "No, Zara, I didn't ruin it. You did. I just let the world watch." The next day, her agency shut down. Ryan left the city. And me? I started over. I didn't rebuild my reputation. I elevated it. Speaking invitations, brand collaborations, even a TEDx offer landed in my inbox. Apparently, people love a woman who burns quietly and rises loudly. But before I accepted any of it, I sat alone one last night in my apartment. Phone off, wine glass half full. I whispered, "You did it, Alina. You finished it." And just like that, I finally slept. Not as the bride who was betrayed, but as the woman who turned her heartbreak into power. Still think heartbreak is the worst kind of pain? Number. It's the best fuel, if you know how to use it. And if you're still watching this, tell me in the comments, would you forgive, or would you finish what they started? It's strange how silence feels different after revenge. Before, it was loneliness. Now, it's peace. Sharp, deliberate, earned. A month after everything went public, I got a message from an unknown number. It was a photo. Zara sitting alone in a cafe. No makeup, no entourage, just staring blankly at her phone. The caption from whoever sent it, "How the mighty fall." I didn't respond. I didn't need to. But I did smile. Not out of spite, out of understanding. She finally knew what it felt like to lose control. Rayan, on the other hand, wasn't so quiet. His father's firm, the one that had given him a chance despite his arrogance, released a statement cutting ties with him. The new headline read, "Disgraced lawyer faces legal scrutiny over fraudulent marriage." See, when you lie to the world long enough, the world starts asking for receipts, and I had all of them. I didn't go to court to destroy him. I didn't have to. I just let truth do what revenge could never, humiliate him in daylight. His accounts were frozen, his license suspended, and his fiancé? Well, Zara couldn't even keep her own name in the news without mine beside it. 3 weeks later, I got a letter. It wasn't an apology. It was a confession. Rayan wrote that he'd been manipulated, that he didn't know what he was doing, that he was under pressure. He said he wished we could start over. Funny how people always want a reset after they burned the bridge. I didn't reply. I folded that letter, tucked it inside the same box where I'd kept our engagement photos, and buried it at the back of my closet. Closure doesn't come from words. It comes from walking away. 2 months later, I launched something new. A foundation. The Ember Project. A platform helping women rebuild after betrayal, heartbreak, or humiliation. Within 6 months, we had sponsors, collaborations, and a community of thousands. Every story I read reminded me, pain is universal, but power is optional. You choose whether to use it. Sometimes, when I'm doing interviews, people ask, if you could go back, would you still expose them? And I always say the same thing. No, I wouldn't expose them. I'd burn slower. Make it art, because what Zara and Rayan never understood was this. Revenge isn't about rage. It's about patience. about watching people trip over the very lies they built to bury you. A year later, on what would have been our wedding anniversary, I received an envelope with no return address. Inside was a photo of Zara's old PR office, now a yoga studio. On the back, a note. You won. It wasn't signed, but I knew the handwriting. Rayons? I laughed quietly. Not bitterly, not victoriously, just with peace. Because he was right. Not because I'd destroyed them, but because I'd survived them. That night, I lit a single candle. Not for love, not for loss, but for freedom. And as the flame flickered, I realized something beautiful. I didn't need closure anymore. I was the closure. So if you're still here, still watching this, still thinking about someone who hurt you, don't rush your revenge. Heal. Plan. Wait. And when the time comes, don't announce it. Just let them feel the silence that once swallowed you. Because the sweetest revenge isn't fire. It's peace. Now tell me in the comments, if you were in my place, would you burn their lies or build your empire out of the ashes?